Charles Leclerc is about to sign a long lucrative contract with Ferrari, but some might feel that he's making a huge mistake. Many supporters of Leclerc think that Ferrari might not be the team for him, and with a reason. While Charles is considered one of the top young talents, the team has let him down many times previously. Why shouldn't Leclerc sign the new contract with Ferrari? Stay until the end of the video to find out. Charles Leclerc is undoubtedly one of the best talents to join Formula One in recent years, around the past 5 to 6 years. His calm and friendly personality when he's not wearing his helmet and his aggressive and determined nature when he is have made him a favorite among fans. He started racing in F1 in 2018 with Sauber, and after just 1 year in the middle of the pack, he quickly moved up to become a Ferrari driver. He's been driving for Ferrari since 2019. During this time, he was teammates with Sebastian Vettel and performed better than him. He even outperformed the legendary Lewis Hamilton in a direct competition at Monza, and at a very young age, he became a prominent figure for the Italian team. Even though Charles Leclerc has achieved a lot and done some amazing things, his career is now facing an important decision during F1's summer break. There are talks going around about a new 5-year contract with the Italian team, but I strongly think that Charles should not agree to that contract. It's clear that Charles Leclerc's time with the team hasn't been as good as hoped. When we think of Ferrari, we think of competing for the best starting positions, victories, and championships. By 2023, he'll have been with the team for 5 years, and he hasn't really had a shot at winning the championship even once. At best, we might say that the 2022 F1 Championship was a kind of almost title fight. Apart from that, there's been very little close to that level. Over these years, Leclerc has definitely shown he's one of the top drivers in F1. He's proved he has the skills that often lead drivers to win championships. He's really impressive in qualifying, possibly the best. He's also really skilled during the race and when he's fighting directly with other drivers. Every aspect of his skills is top-notch. The only thing stopping Charles Leclerc from excelling in F1 is the car he drives and the team's support. Ferrari's mistake in 2019 with the power unit rules affected their performance in 2020 and 2021. In 2022, when the team improved, a big weakness became clear. While Leclerc was showing he could compete with Max Verstappen for the championship, Ferrari showed they weren't fully prepared. Since 2022, the Italians' team performance has been getting worse, and even in 2023, they still make significant mistakes every weekend. The ongoing mistakes hurt Charles Leclerc last year, and they're definitely taking a toll on him this season too. Ferrari hasn't been getting better over the past few years, and with new management making more changes, does it really make sense for him to stick with the team? Especially for 5 whole years? It seems like a bad idea for sure. Ferrari's last championship win was in 2008. That's been 15 years without a single title. They had 2 intense fights for the championship, one with Fernando Alonso in 2010 and another in 2012. When Sebastian Vettel joined, he came second in the championship twice, but those fights faded quickly after the middle of the season. Charles Leclerc had a similar experience in 2022, where he was the second best for the championship, but honestly, there wasn't really a battle for the title after halfway through the season. In these past 15 years, Ferrari had 2 chances to win the World Championship, but both times they couldn't make it. To add to this, the team is going through changes, and it's clear that there's often a lot of internal conflict every few years. Is it smart to commit to a team like this? It's probably not the best idea. Charles Leclerc should consider not just Ferrari's failures since 2008, but also their history since the 80s. If we look at the last 45 years, except for Michael Schumacher's time from 1996 to 2006 and the time shortly after that until 2008, Ferrari hasn't been consistently competitive at the front. Even legendary drivers like Nigel Mansell, Alain Prost, Fernando Alonso and Sebastian Vettel couldn't succeed with the team. They're some of the greatest names in F1 that any fan would know. All of them raced for Ferrari, but none of them could win the championship. Above all, this should be a sign for Charles Leclerc to explore other options beyond Ferrari. It's especially important to think twice before signing a big contract extension. For Leclerc, the path forward is clear. There's a new boss, Fred Vasseur, leading the team now. He's making changes, and these changes should start making a difference next season. Before seeing the results of these changes, it's not a smart move to trust a team that has a long history of not doing well. If things improve for Ferrari by next season, then Leclerc might think about sticking with the team for a longer time. But if things don't get better, he should start considering other choices. Maybe Mercedes has a spot. Or what about McLaren or Aston Martin? What if Audi asks Charles to lead their entry into F1? There will be several opportunities available next season, and it's a good idea to position yourself to take advantage of them. However, Carlos Sainz already has ties to Audi through his father, which might make that option less suitable. Personally, I can't help but imagine Charles Leclerc driving alongside Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes team. I think that team would be the best for him. But circumstances have turned out differently, and now Mercedes is committed to Russell until Lewis decides to stop racing. But what if they suggested a trade, swapping Russell for Leclerc? That would be a great solution. In the previous season, Lewis Hamilton was testing different changes and improvements in the car to figure out how to make it better, as the car was not performing well. On the other hand, George Russell played it safe with his car setup, and as a result, he achieved better results. However, he started getting overconfident and made some bold statements. In an interview, he claimed he was faster than Hamilton, which now seems to be untrue in this season. The reality is he's not performing as well as Lewis. Earlier, there were talks about a possible trade between Ferrari and Mercedes. It was suggested that Lewis Hamilton could go to Ferrari and Charles Leclerc would drive for Mercedes. However, this idea didn't sit well with many fans. Now it's been said that Charles Leclerc has decided not to replace Lewis Hamilton at Mercedes. Leclerc has agreed to a big new contract with Ferrari. Lewis Hamilton, who has won the World Championship 7 times, is in the final year of his contract and hasn't signed a new one yet. People are worried he might leave to find a car that can compete with Max Verstappen in the front of the grid. A French source, Sportune, has stated that Charles Leclerc has agreed to a new deal with Ferrari. This extension would last for 2 years until 2026, with the possibility to extend it even further until 2029. If this happens, he would have the longest contract among all the drivers in Formula 1. It's also quite a lucrative deal, with Leclerc expected to earn more than £160 million over this time period. In the final year, he could receive compensation of up to £43 million. This new agreement would put an end to any thoughts of Leclerc moving to Mercedes in the near future. Meanwhile, Toto Wolff, the head of Mercedes team, is confident about extending Lewis Hamilton's contract. When asked about his name being linked with other top teams at the Belgian Grand Prix, Leclerc didn't completely rule out the possibility of a move. He told Corriere della Sera, "It definitely means that I'm performing well in my job." Meanwhile, Toto Wolff, the head of Mercedes, has emphasized that they're getting closer to extending Hamilton's contract, and they're just working on final details. Despite recent reports that Hamilton's request for an ambassador role was turned down, Wolff remains confident about reaching an agreement. He said last month, "I'm still very confident about making the deal. They want to do it really well, paying attention to every detail. Sometimes everything gets sorted out nicely." Wolff clarified that their discussions are no longer centered around money, duration, or similar matters. Instead, they're focusing on future plans and what they can do to optimize their collaboration. Hamilton is also positive about extending his time with the Mercedes team. This likelihood has increased, especially since one of the potential replacements, Leclerc, has already committed to staying with Ferrari until 2026. Do you think Leclerc will stay in Ferrari, or will he move to another team? Let us know in the comments below.